We talked about this already.
Let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. And now...
My opinion is that you're full of crap. That's my opinion. Hello, my beautiful love bugs, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nancy. I'm an entomologist, which means that I study bugs, and every single week we talk about bugs in different forms. So today I thought I would try something new and try into a react and commentary video. And I normally don't try and seek these things out because they generally just make me angry. Like, there's so much misinformation, and bugs are just kind of like, oh my god, look at how big and scary this bug is, and it like hurts me on like a fundamental core level because they're so beautiful. All bugs are so beautiful. So this thumbnail showed up in my feed, and everything is wrong with it. You know, like Star Wars, and it's like
amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
Everything that this little thumbnail is insinuating is wrong, wrong, wrong. First of all, there's no insect that causes this damage to your hand like that. That is some like special effects, Photoshop. Doesn't happen. And they tend to put this bug next to it because, like, look at how weird its back is. Like, its back is all diseased. It's going to, like, bite you, and then you're all going to get... No, none of that is true. If you check the card right up there, I have a whole video, and part of that video is talking about this insect. This insect is the giant water bug, and those things on its back is the male that is carrying the eggs. It's actually very adorable. They're kind of like seahorses in the fact that the males protect and take care of the eggs, make sure that they're not too wet, not too dry, and very happy until they hatch. This is really adorable. They can bite you. It will hurt because they have digestive enzymes in their mouth parts, but you are not going to have your hand just kind of like disintegrate into this holy Swiss cheese wonder. It's just going to hurt. You're not even going to bleed from it. I've been bitten by a whole bunch of different hemipterans, which is what this group is in, card up there, and it hurts, but you've got nothing to show for it because all those digestive enzymes are just like digesting stuff away, so you don't bleed, you don't have a scar, you don't have any redness, you don't have, it just hurts. That's it. So first of all, this thumbnail obviously got me slightly riled up, so we're just gonna start with that and then try not to get too much more angry through the rest of this video. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and let me know in the thought box if you like more reaction videos. Whew, it's gonna be a trip.
Creepy crawlies are quaint and small, most able to be squished with just one hefty stomp of a boot. So it may surprise you to know that a choice few are actually some of the most dangerous animals out there.
Pause on most dangerous animals. So whenever they say like most dangerous animal, like how are they calculating this? It usually has something to do with like the venom, like how potent the venom is from a thing called an LD50, which is how we measure venom potency. And we'll hear things like kills like this many mice in this many seconds, or like can kill this many humans this many times over. But there's a very big difference between like it has a lot of venom and the venom is very dangerous to you are most likely to actually run across this animal. And in North America, the most deadly animal is deer because people hit them with their cars. And worldwide, the most dangerous animal is a mosquito because it transits a whole bunch of tropical diseases, including malaria, which is still very, very dangerous in many places in the world. So I doubt the mosquito is on this list. Just saying. But we are 10 seconds in. I'm already so riled. I can't. Alright.
Once you've seen these clips and photos, you'll never want to go outside again. These are the most dangerous bugs around the world. Number 15. Giant Asian Hornet. If you thought it was painful to be stung by a regular bee, then you definitely don't want to enter into combat with the giant Asian hornet. Also known as the giant sparrow bee,
I think some of this footage is actually not of the giant Asian hornet.
Giant Asian hornet is the largest hornet species and probably one of the angriest.
Largest hornet species, alright, we can maybe give that to you. They are rather large. Hornet is a very bad name that is given mainly to insects in the genus Vespa. I've talked about this before. Check the card. I did a whole thing on the Asian giant hornet with John. I talked about like an hour and a half with him when that whole thing started. So like just check the card because I'm not going to spend any more time talking about this. Really.
The creepy critter in this photo.
This photo! No! No! We talked about this already.
Growing up to 4 inches in length, they could inflict a pretty serious bite. While it's not a venomous bite, it is widely considered to be the most painful bite of any insect. And sadly, they are still out there. Yikes.
They definitely are venomous. So inside the hemipteran mouth parts, they tend to have different types of enzymes. In the case of this hemipteran, they're digestive enzymes. So hemipterans do this thing where they have their mouth part, they like spit digestive enzyme soupy spit into whatever they're trying to eat. Those digestive enzymes start breaking things down and then they suck it back up like a Slurpee. So there is definitely a venom to help break down the cells and other things that it would be normally in their insect prey. Some of them can eat fish and turtles and stuff. It's pretty cool.
13. Black Widow. The 8-legged black widow arachnid is ready and waiting to come along and ruin your day. If you happen to see a spider anywhere in North America that has a black body and red markings on its abdomen, it is one of the most dangerous and poisonous spiders in North America.
One of the most venomous.
Female black widows build their webs low to the ground, which means you not only have to be aware of them in bushes and trees, but near your feet too.
Okay, that is very misleading. The black widows tend to be in really, really secluded areas, and these really secluded areas include like the back of mailboxes, behind your shed, in that bush that you haven't touched in like 100 years. This is how most people accidentally get bitten, is they just don't realize it's there, and they'll like, accidentally put their hand on it, they're not paying attention, they like stick their hand too far into the mailbox, like all of that. So it's not gonna just like bite your toes for no reason. There's a reason why many people aren't even bitten by them, because they're rare to even get to bite you. Card with Joe.
The best way to avoid being bitten by a black widow is to stay away from dark places, never leave your house, and don't stay up past nightfall.
Never leave your house. Don't go outside, guys. There's black widows everywhere. They're just gonna bite your face off with them.
Totally achievable, right? Number 12. Yellowjackets. Want to know what one of the most awful creatures in the world is? And no, we're not talking about your mother-in-law. The yellowjacket would happen to be not only one of the worst bugs to deal with, but one of the most dangerous as well.
I did a whole thing about yellowjackets and their hunting behavior, and with John, that card is up there. This video is so great. It's like I've like talked about all of this already. Thanks, guys. I talked about this on their hunting behavior, and I also talked about stinging and when stinging insects are likely to sting you with John, also up there in the card. All of these will be in the reference section below.
Give them a wide berth if you don't want to end up at risk of an unprovoked attack.
You will, like, if they don't attack unprovoked. That is an incorrect statement. Are you afraid of any arthropods? If you are, like, let me know in the comments and I can tell you some cool facts about them that will hopefully make you not as afraid of them.
Number 11. Pus caterpillars. When you see something fuzzy or fluffy, it's natural to want to touch it. How many people can resist walking past a fluffy cat without giving it a quick pat or a scratch under the chin? So it's a cruel joke that the pus caterpillar is playing.
Okay, I will agree with that one. Like, I have said this myself a couple times, like the pus caterpillar definitely looks adorable. But a good rule of thumb, if your caterpillar is spiny and or hairy, do not touch it, because those are filled usually with venom, and the spines can break off or the hairs can break off and inject venom. Sometimes they're just annoying and break off in your fingers like fiberglass. Regardless, it is uncomfortable. Do not touch fluffy caterpillars. This one's fair. This won't do or anything.
Cause significant pain or make itself cute and cuddly, so they go in for a pat. Then, once you touch it, you quickly regret your...
I mean, it doesn't look cute and cuddly, so we touch it. To predators, it's bright yellow, which signifies that it's dangerous. That's aposematic coloration. So it's signifying that it's dangerous, and all that fluff is protecting the caterpillar body down under there. So whatever is going to attack it has to get through A, a lot of fluff, and B, a lot of stinging fluff. So it's actually just protection. It's not trying to convince anyone to touch it.
And assassin bugs. If you live in the bottom 2/3 of the United States, then listen up. This one's for you. Meet the assassin bug, also known as the kissing bug, a 1/2 inch to 1 inch long black or brown bug with red dots and a broad, flat back.
Okay, the kissing bug is a whole other story. The kissing bug is a type of reduvid, which means that it is a type of assassin bug, but it is in its own subfamily, so it's its own small little group within the assassin bugs, and they can transmit Chagas. Not everywhere, not all of them, but they can, and they're oftentimes misidentified. I'm not sure actually if this one is a triatomid. When Chagas disease was kind of like rediscovered in Texas and like the small population, it hit the news. Everyone and their mother was using random pictures of various kinds of assassin bugs and even things that weren't assassin bugs and calling them kissing bugs, and that wasn't true. So the best thing to do is, if you find one of these and you're worried, is to have it identified by an expert, usually your local extension office or your local extension agency or your pest control agency or university professionals. They can help you out.
If they had a dating profile, it would read, "I love mammals, no preference on what kind, and I love kissing." Oh, and by
that's not true. They actually really like birds. The kissing bugs tend to be a problem in thatched roofing. So in areas that are typically poorer is where we'll see Chagas disease, and that's because that's where we'll see the triatomids. And triatomids actually live in birds' nests. So they actually like birds way more than they like humans.
Find assassin bugs in your house, having entered uninvited of course, it is essential to get rid of them. Call.
So yeah, this is the thing that really bothers me about this is like, yeah, you gave almost some good information. However, the fact is like there are so many different species of assassin bugs. Not all of them can carry the Chagas disease. In fact, only this small group called the triatomidae can carry this disease. And so I think there's like 160 North American species of assassin bug, and many of them are really important. They're good for pest control. They help you in your garden. They are just around killing bugs that you probably don't like. So they're actually really important to have around. Please just don't murder them because you don't know what they are. Again, even if you have a kissing bug, the chances of it carrying Chagas disease if you are in the United States is very, very, very small.
Number 9. Brazilian wandering spider.
Yeah, this last shot isn't even of a Brazilian wandering spider. That last shot is of like a very fluffy tarantula. Misidentified.
Congratulated for being the world's most venomous spider. This charming critter has enough potent venom to take down children.
It's actually not the world's most venomous spider, and it's not even the world's deadliest spider. It definitely can cause some issues when it bites you, but there are definitely more dangerous spiders in the world than this one, and a lot of it seems to be overblown hype, and yeah, most of it seems to be overblown hype. My friend Andrea, she actually got bitten by one in the middle of the Amazon, and she developed a slight fever and was fine the next day.
Number 8.
Okay, yeah, so the tsetse fly is a problem. The tsetse fly causes sleeping sickness, which is again like an actual problem. So yes, the tsetse fly is dangerous, and there are many studies being done to help control and protect people against the tsetse fly.
Most people probably presume that the mosquito is one of the most awful insects in the world. They're by no means pleasant or charming, but you clearly haven't met the tsetse fly.
That's not necessarily true. Mosquitoes carry malaria, and malaria is one of the most dangerous diseases. It kills more people than any other insect-borne disease. So not all mosquitoes are transmitting diseases to people, but the ones that are definitely problematic, and there's lots of money and lots of studies going in to understand and study them better.
Mosquitoes, when they bite, furrow their mouth into your blood, often without you noticing. The tsetse has a more direct approach. Their mouths have serrations on them, like a steak knife, and they will saw into your skin to suck out.
So this is the definition between the two types of common blood feeders. We have the type that's the mosquito with a proboscis that does exactly what this guy just said, is it enters the blood vessel or whatever and then like sucks up the blood. Whereas something like the tsetse fly and horse flies also do this, sand flies also do this, where they will like literally saw a little hole in your skin and then lap up the blood afterwards. And that's why horseflies hurt so much. It's called pool feeding. This is a normal feeding behavior that we see in flies.
On your blood. If that's not bad enough, they transmit diseases while causing you extreme pain at the same time. The most common one is called human African trypanosomiasis, or sleeping sickness, which can be fatal without treatment. 7. Deer tick. The deer tick. Looks innocent enough, right? As it turns out, there's probably more risk associated with this tick than, say, a bird-eating tarantula. See, that's why appearances should never fool you.
That is definitely true. The bird-eating tarantula is probably never going to bite you. You're probably never going to see one. Even if you did, it would probably just run away. The tick, the deer tick, and ticks in general can transmit a whole host of diseases. So you'll see a common theme that keeps popping up here is it's the insect that is, or the arthropod that is vectoring the disease that's the problem, and not necessarily the arthropod itself. But deer ticks can transmit, at least from where I'm from, Connecticut, can transmit Lyme disease. I have had the pleasure of having it. It kind of sucks. And it is a really dangerous disease. Most of the problems with the disease is that it goes misdiagnosed for so long and can cause a whole host of problems, neurological and otherwise. It's not a good time. Do not recommend. Always do a tick check though. This is something that's really easy to avoid. If you are in a wooded area, you can do a tick check, get someone who you trust really well to like check the areas that you can't see on yourself. And if you get the tick off of you in 24 hours, then you're not going to get any of these diseases that they can carry.
6. Bullet ant. They say that nothing can compare to being shot with a gun, but
so the bullet ant isn't particularly dangerous to humans just because of how big we are, but they do hurt a lot. I have a friend who said that she would rather give birth again rather than step on another bullet ant. Justin Schmidt, who is famous for ranking insect stings on a scale of 1 to 10, or in this case 1 to 5, he says the bullet ant is pure, intense, brilliant pain, like walking over flaming charcoal with a 3-inch nail embedded in your heel. So very painful. However, it is not fatal to humans. If you get stung by one out in the jungle, you're given some ibuprofen, like a pat on the head, and told to kind of just like walk it off, because unless you're allergic, it's not going to do any damage to you other than hurt a lot.
then you get bit by a bullet ant and you say, you know what, I think I would prefer to be shot with a gun. The pain is so severe from the bite of a bullet ant that most people would rather be hit by a slow-moving car, be non-fatally shot with a gun, or go through childbirth 3 times over. Entomologist Justin Schmidt, who measures the pain from insect stings and has been stung by over 150 species, says it is the worst pain known to man. And that's coming from a crazy insect man who wants to be stung.
Whoa, crazy insect man, whoa. Justin Schmidt, I feel like that's not fair to portray him in that light. I'm gonna stick up for him. He actually studies the chemicals that are causing the venom, the envenomation, like what these chemicals are doing, how they hurt you, what they're triggering, and he talks about all of that in The Sting of the Wild, and he not only relates it, like what is this venom doing to its prey, what is this venom doing to humans, but how is the arthropod using them in their everyday life, which I think is such an important part of the story. Like, why does the bullet ant sting so hard? Like, why does it hurt so much? Why is it important for the ecology of that animal to produce that strong of a venom? And I think that's like a really important thing to talk about. So, The Sting of the Wild, excellent book, 10 out of 10, do recommend.
If that doesn't convince you enough that the bite of a bullet ant hurts more than
sting of a bullet ant.
nearly anything else on Earth, then nothing will. They are one of the largest ant species in the world at over an inch long and live in the South American rainforest. And we're pretty happy to say they can stay there. So why does their bite hurt so much? Well, the venom messes with our nerve function and stops them from communicating properly.
That is true. So the main venom toxin in them is ponerotoxin. And ponerotoxin is specifically attacking your nervous system.
It also lengthens the signal sending time from a nerve, which causes that extreme gunshot-like pain. Number 5. Sandfly.
So, yes, again, a disease vector.
Sandflies, they don't seem so bad. Sure, they're annoying and they cause itchy little bumps, but they're completely harmless, right?
That music, though.
Wrong. For the most part, anyone bitten by a sandfly will get a red bump and blister. Sometimes, though, inflammation and dermatitis can follow.
This picture is of a horsefly. That is not of a sandfly.
No. Giant silkworm moth caterpillar. To look at the giant silkworm moth, you'd never in 1,000 years guess that its offspring were murderers.
Okay. This is, I now understand. They're referring to the family Saturniidae and not the silkworm moth caterpillar. The silkworm moth caterpillar, as you would know it, would be Bombyx mori, and that's the one that we get silk from, although all of them in that family create a silken cocoon, and they're called the giant silk moth caterpillars. Many of these caterpillars do have venomous spines all over them. They can cause rashes, they can cause pain if you touch them. That is true.
That's like looking at a new mom and thinking, I bet that baby's a serial killer when its mom's not watching. But believe it or not, the silkworm caterpillar, the moth's baby, is responsible for several deaths every year. It has little spines all over its body that puncture the human skin.
Again, it depends on which caterpillar. So yeah, so there are 2,300 species of Saturniidae. There are a few that are incredibly dangerous, and there are some that can send you to the hospital. But many of them are not quite that dangerous, and many of them, the caterpillars, you can just pick up and touch and there's no problem. Some, it's like the Io moth. So the Automaris caterpillar, like these guys are giant silkworm moth caterpillars, and these definitely can sting. You can see here all of these giant venomous spines all over them. Like they definitely can sting you, and it definitely hurts. But not all giant silkworm moth caterpillars are like that. So hickory horn devil caterpillar, again, this guy looks really big and really kind of dangerous, but he's actually harmless. You can just pick them up. You can see people just holding them. They're completely harmless, and they're in the same family.
Psychopaths, they're out to get you.
They're not out to get you.
Number 3, red widow spiders.
Okay, all widow spiders, I feel like I can just dump this in with the black widow spider. All widow spiders are in the same genus, Latrodectus, and they all have the same kind of toxins. The toxins are named after the genus. They're called latrotoxins. No bites by this spider are recorded in the medical literature. So it either like never happens or it's not at all worth complaining about.
Arizona bark scorpions. If you're a bit squeamish, scared, or just downright terrified of insects and small critters, and somehow you've made it this far into the video, maybe you want to look away. The Arizona bark scorpion is one of those creatures that can't help but send shivers up your spine.
It's a scorpion.
Jeez. They love trees, so stay away from those. But did you know that they'll also
stay away from all trees? Stay away from all of them.
So hang from your ceiling and crawl across them? Nowhere is safe from the Arizona bark scorpion.
Arizona bark scorpions will tend to get into your house because they are looking for cool and kind of humid places to live. They are a desert organism. They are looking for areas that are cool and dark and a little bit humid so that way they don't dry out. If you live in Arizona, your basement is probably a good spot for them. Again, they're not going to go after you and just sting you for no reason. They just ended up in your house, so you could just put them back outside in a cup.
They're also typically non-aggressive, which is bound to make you breathe.
Non-aggressive, exactly.
Most things are accidental, but that doesn't make them hurt any less.
This genus of scorpions, which I cannot pronounce, I think it's like Centroides on screen. They're really interesting because their venom is super, super complicated. This scorpion has been shown to deliver 2 types of venom, one to kill its insect prey, and that venom can have up to 300 different toxins to attack different arthropods and different systems in the arthropods. But they also have a venom that is just triggering potassium ion channels in vertebrates, which makes us hurt. So their venom isn't doing anything to us. It's not doing any damage to us. It's not like hurting tissues or breaking anything down. It literally is just a type of venom that it will deliver to things that it cannot eat to say, I hurt, go away.
Number 1, termite.
Okay, this list is so random, like 15 most dangerous bugs around the world. They're obviously doing a countdown, but there's like, we have things that vector diseases, mosquitoes were completely left out. We have like 2 widow spiders that were in 2 different categories, even though they're in the same genus with the same toxins, and one was further down the list than the other. They weren't even next to each other, and the one that was higher on the list wasn't even the medically significant one. Now we're on termites? What is this?
Termites. The dreaded termites. Want to know why they're dangerous? Because
Yes.
without prevention or treatment, you can end up homeless.
I have nothing. I literally... Yes, they can eat your house. There are usually telltale signs that there's a problem way before your house falls down. And this is why it's really important to not try and treat termites on your own, because the colony is like way in the walls usually or underground somewhere. And so you need a professional to locate where the colony is and deliver insecticides to that very specific place. You kill the queen, because you can kill all the outside termites all you want, but they're like their old grannies that they've sent out to do their bidding, and they're basically expendable and useless for the colony. So you need to kill the queen, which is usually very, very protected and hard to get at. So you need a professional. And also only if you have a wooden house. They're not going to eat concrete.
They will literally eat your house without a care for where you'll end up. They are easily one of the most selfish insects.
Selfish insect. Okay, termites are really important. When I was teaching my entomology classes, I had a specific assignment where the students had to look up pest species and see what their role in the ecosystem was. It just so happens that wooden houses are perfectly the niche of termites, but what they're actually doing is really important for the ecosystem. You have a big tree that falls down. That's a lot of cellulose. It's hard to digest cellulose. You can't digest it. That's why you just poop out celery in basically the same form it went in, because it's undigestible. So termites are very useful and very important in the ecosystem because they have specialized bacteria which help them digest cellulose, which means that they can break down fallen trees and they can break down different hard to break down things, and that returns nutrients to the ecosystem and makes it so all your forests aren't just like piles of dead trees everywhere. Very important. They're not like selfish. They're just arthropods. They couldn't even be selfish. They just have an ecological niche to fulfill. Wooden houses, unfortunately, fill that ecological niche as well. So here we are.
You'll likely know if you have a termite problem.
Exactly,
You'll hear banging
notice.
in the bugs and spiders are creepy enough with how they look, but then you give them
They're
the power
not
to
creepy.
hurt you and they're
I fight you. They're not creepy. The reason why people think they're creepy and scary is because videos like this that specifically try and like make the insects seem worse than they are, or like pit them against each other, or like sensationalize them in the wrong direction. Well, love bugs, whew. Let me know if you liked this commentary video, kind of going through some BS on the internet. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments or in the thought box your thoughts. Have you had any of these arthropods or had a run-in with any of these arthropods? I will see you for the next video over here, or the video recommended to you by the YouTube algorithm, and down here is something from the same playlist. So I will see you all next week. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and a like and subscribe and do all of the things.